Friends, I have been speaking to you the last few weeks through my Saturday Wisdom talks on topics that concern all of us, be it the academic bank of credits, or a take on future-proof careers, or the way education would evolve post-COVID. They were all received well by you. Hence, I am encouraged to be back with another episode today, and this time it will be cybersecurity and the small things we can remember and do to be cyber safe. Cybersecurity this month has a significance. For every year, October is globally marked as National Cyber Security Awareness Month, with a view to educate public and private sector and to increase cyber resilience of the nation as recommended by National Security Council Secretariat of the Government of India, with a theme of Do Your Part, Be Cyber Smart. So let's see what being cyber smart is all about. While we discuss security, I am reminded of a quote by Jane Addams, a pioneer American settlement activist, reformer, and social worker.
She said,
and I quote, "The good we secure for ourselves is precarious and uncertain until it is secured for all of us and incorporated into our common life." So what is cybersecurity and why must we be so concerned with it? Simply put, cybersecurity is defending computers, servers, mobile devices, electronic systems, networks, and data from malicious attacks. Indirectly, it also means defending the people using such devices and networks. Sometimes we also call it information technology security, or IT security, or electronic information security. In order that IT systems work, we need, in addition to computers, networks, applications, information operations, disaster recovery, all of which will contribute to business continuity. Each one of the attributes need security cover, since each one of them can be breached. Above all, we need end-user education. Anyone can accidentally introduce a virus to an otherwise secure system by failing to follow good security practices. Teaching users to delete suspicious email attachments, not plug in unidentified universal serial bus, or USB as we know, drives, and various other important lessons is vital for the security of not only organizations but also for personal devices. Friends, you must have heard of terms like malware, virus, trojans, spyware, ransomware, adware, botnets, SQL injection, phishing, man-in-the-middle attack, denial of service attacks, and so on and so forth. What are they? They are all attacks that can happen on our computer systems and our mobiles and also the computer networks. Way back in 1983, Matthew Broderick, an American actor in the movie War Games, I suppose some of you must have seen that movie. Unwittingly hacks into a military supercomputer while searching for new video games. That act of his even resulted in nuclear wars, of course, in the movie. That was for fun and entertainment. Those days are, however, over. Hacking is now real and billions of dollars business. What is hacking then? It involves an unauthorized attempt to gain access to a computer system, application, or data. People who do this are called hackers. Obviously, what they do is illegal. On the other hand, suppose we allow authorized attempt to gain unauthorized access. Mark my words. Allow authorized attempt to gain unauthorized access to computer systems, networks, or applications and data, then we create ethical hackers. They are also called white hats. Don't we know that one needs to think like a criminal to catch one? That logic applies here as well. India ranks 11th worldwide in the number of attacks caused by servers that were hosted in the country. With 2.3 million incidents reported in the first quarter of 2020, identity threat, a crime in which an attacker uses fraud or deception to obtain personal or sensitive information from a victim and misuses it to act in the victim's name, was the most common, with 45% of adult users falling for it. This was up almost 40% since 2019. At 2.7 crores, over 2% of India's entire population. One example I would like to cite is of a consumer credit reporting agency, Equifax, which had suffered a massive breach in May 2017. Hackers or identity thieves gained access to the personal data of nearly 150 million American citizens, roughly 2/3 of the country's population, including full names, social security numbers, addresses, and dates of birth. That the company's stocks plummeted 33% or suffered a market loss of approximately $10 billion does not come as a surprise then. If cybercrime were measured as a country, then it is predicted to inflict damages totaling $6 trillion globally in 2021 and $10.5 trillion by 2025. It would make it the world's third largest economy after the US and China. It was just $3 trillion in 2015. See the rate of rise. Come to think of it, how many times you must have received mails where an attacker masquerading as a trusted entity may have tried duping you into opening an email, instant messages, or text messages. Well, if you had answered them, you would have lost your data, including login credentials and credit card numbers. You may even have been held to ransom. Now, all this is phishing. There are over 2 million phishing sites that are registered by Google. It's estimated that the global ransomware damage costs will reach $20 billion by 2021. Ever heard of deepfakes? They create fake videos using deep learning technology. They also use synthetic audio to mimic the tone, inflection, and idiosyncrasies of an executive or other employees. Then they ask for a money transfer or access to sensitive data.
Therefore,
You know this footage.
I shall resign the presidency effective at noon tomorrow.
But what about this?
I will not be resigning the presidency at noon tomorrow because I am not Richard Nixon. In fact, I'm Jake Ward. I'm a television correspondent. And the fact that my face can be put onto the late presidents and do a pretty good job of fooling you, well, that's a sign of just how much trouble we're all in.
You see, I would never say these things. Someone else would. Someone like Jordan Peele.
Made by a hostile nation? Just for laughs? It doesn't matter. Deepfakes are good enough to fool anyone. So good that Twitter, Facebook, Google, and both political parties are scrambling for ways to fight them.
I believe that this is the next wave of attacks against America and Western democracies.
Hani Farid is one of the world's top experts on deepfakes. And now, Facebook has come to him, even though he's a vocal critic of the company, to help it develop tools for detecting deepfakes.
We all have these little tics, if you will.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
The trick is teaching computers to spot patterns in how public figures speak.
President Trump, when he puckers his chin, his mouth is closed. And when his mouth is open, he doesn't pucker the chin.
Wow, so this pattern is his fingerprint.
Exactly.
Farid's algorithm is built to help researchers and news organizations like NBC spot deepfakes of candidates in the 2020 presidential race by learning their patterns.
And every candidate, Senator Warren, Joe Biden,
Right.
They all have their own little tells.
Farid says his system is a temporary victory in an endless war between hackers, journalists, and academics. To preserve our trust in real footage, Farid says companies should build phones that digitally watermark what we shoot, so it's easy to see what's been altered.
I actually would like to see the Apples and the Androids of the world eventually incorporate this into the native app.
So you're talking about not just authenticating video after it's been shot. You have to authenticate the camera.
Exactly.
A warning as fake footage of public figures goes viral.
Vice President Ford will be sworn in as president.
Pictures may no longer speak for themselves.
Several such applications bypass biometric security protections and indulge in blackmail, identity theft, social engineering-based attacks, and many more. A very interesting attack is a robo network, or in short, a botnet. Not one or two computers. A host of them will now be infected, bringing down even large organizations to their knees. What then is a botnet? It's a network of computers infected by malware that are under the control of a single attacking party known as the bot herder. Now the bot herder or a bot will control each individual machine. A bot can even recruit more computers to the botnet. Devious methods indeed. In 2016, Mirai, a botnet, could manage to have more than 1 lakh of computers in its control. It attacked several cybersecurity companies, generating traffic volumes of 1 terabits per second and taking down a large part of their online infrastructure. Another was a DDoS attack that targeted GitHub, a popular online code management service used by millions of developers. This attack reached 1.3 Tbps, sending packets at a rate of 126.9 million per second. No wonder its operations came to a grinding halt. Is Aadhaar card a cybersecurity risk? Currently, names, addresses, photos, biometric credentials like fingerprints, iris scan, and facial images, phone numbers, email addresses, and details such as movable and immovable properties owned by us and our eligibility for government schemes is being secured in the Aadhaar database. Obviously, the stakes for hacking are very high. Though Unique Identification Authority of India, UIDAI, the issuing body of Aadhaar, claims no breaches can take place, it continues to be a prime target for hackers. However, if you want to know if your Aadhaar card is being misused, then you can check it through a facility called Aadhaar Authentication History. Human intelligence is intuitive. People are very innovative, disruptive, unstructured, and if they are also technology savvy, they can be way ahead of structured developers that governments depend on. Hence, data theft, sometimes through hacking and sometimes by exploiting breaches in the last mile or anywhere in the operational supply chain, is always a possibility. One airy dimension to cybercrime is inappropriate content, cyberbullying, and online predators. Predators, through various applications, can easily pry into websites the children interact with. They pose as a child or teen looking to make a new friend. They might prod a child to exchange personal information such as addresses and phone numbers, or encourage them to call them, noting the phone number via caller ID. For anyone to claim foolproof system is a myth, let alone by UIDAI. In a bid to address privacy concerns, the UIDAI introduced a new concept of virtual ID, which the holder can generate differently every time he logs in from a website and use for various purposes, including SIM verification, instead of sharing the actual 12-digit biometric ID. This will give the users the option of not sharing their Aadhaar number at the time of authentication. This is akin to one-time password OTP, which you receive via SMS from your bank to your mobile phone every time you log in or transfer money from your online account without revealing the account number. But then, virtual ID is as vulnerable to phishing as OTP. Complete safety is just a myth. One can only build multi-layers of security. However, don't forget the new kids on the block are not only technology savvy, but are extremely motivated. Security policy, regulatory compliance, user awareness programs, access control, security audit, incident response, encryption, firewall, and finally antivirus are all important aspects of security and are highly technical in nature. Learning, training, retraining on a regular basis, skilling, upskilling, therefore becomes cardinal. Our universities must actively support this endeavor. Governments have to work overtime to make the nation safer than it was in the days and months preceding, especially after the global terrorist attacks. Cybersecurity remains a cross-cutting thread across every other infrastructure and is the underlying foundation for the operation of every business and government function. Unlike physical vulnerabilities, cybersecurity vulnerabilities and threats can change in seconds. The protective measures can also become obsolete just as quickly in seconds. It's greatly imperative then that we need a cyberspace security response system, a security threat and vulnerability reduction program, and a security awareness and training program. This will ensure secure government cyberspace and provide collaboration based on effective international cyberspace security cooperation models. A good way to begin would be to create a registry of cybersecurity experts at the operational level. The cybersecurity program, divided at 4 levels, may be under the National Skills Qualification Framework, NSQF as we know, would create trained professionals at each level, accredited with either a white belt, a blue belt, a green belt, or a black belt. A 240-hour training at each level with real-time hands-on learning would populate the registry. A registry would keep tabs on the trained personnel, since today's experts could easily become tomorrow's hackers in an ever-expanding and innovative world. Such a registry can then be used to depute experts to address different classes of vulnerabilities and intrusions, simultaneously populating the experts' database, vulnerabilities, and the security solutions. Improving performance on cyber risk assessments and remediation activities must include a plan for internet-related recovery in the event of a disaster or a coordinated attack, and work closely with cyber first responders from the registry that I spoke about across the nation, state, local, and private sectors. Besides creating a pool of experts for this country and other countries as well, a registry of security breaches and troubleshoots would be available, which will help research into future breaches, thus spinning off several new job opportunities, not to speak of the immense benefits accruing like predicting future attacks. The past of cybersecurity was young and immature. The attackers were more innovative than the defenders, who were mired in fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or the FUD syndrome. Attack back was illegal or classified. Currently, cybersecurity is a scientific discipline, is application and technology centric, with a complete understanding that cybersecurity will never be solved but will only be managed. Further, attack back is an integral part of cybersecurity today. Remember, attackers have sizable inventory of known but unused or rarely used tricks and are highly innovative. The Financial Express of 4th August 2021 reports that the National Cybersecurity Policy, NCSP, released by the Government of India in 2013, had laid down several strategies to counter security threats from cyberspace. Whilst 8 years have passed, limited implementation has taken place, and that our country remains amongst the most targeted nations. The implementation must be made in right earnest. Large policy changes must be supported with a robust, targeted communications plan supporting services and documentation. patch management, communications, incentives, and mass communications must be shared with the private sector, including owners and operators of the critical information infrastructure, a cybersecurity knowledge database, and an expert system that promotes alerts on possible cybercrime threats based on heuristics, statistical models, etc. is imperative. As normal people, what are we supposed to do? First, understand that the top security breaches are phishing, hacking, malware, individual mistakes, external theft, vendor, internal theft, and lost or improper disposal. There is no point in crying over spilt milk. Certain precautions can always be taken, and one need not be an IT expert to do that. Having said that, in the current world, you cannot be innovative and a novice and user at the same time. Hence, I can only advise all my friends who are either users or developers to keep their software up to date, use antivirus protection and firewalls, use strong passwords, and yes, use a password management tool. Use two-factor or multi-factor authentication. Learn about phishing scams. Be very suspicious of emails, phone calls, and flyers. Protect your sensitive personal identifiable information, or PII as we call it. Use your mobile devices securely. Back up your data regularly. Do not use public Wi-Fi. Never use public Wi-Fi. And review your online accounts and credit reports regularly for changes. This will ensure happy transactions and happy surfing. A security oration or a debate would probably not end without remembering what Benjamin Franklin, one of the founding fathers of the United States, said on liberty. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. So friends, I have tried to lay bare the basics of cyber safety and what must you do to be safe. If you follow them, I am sure you will be assured cyber safety. That's all from me for this Saturday, and namaskar, dhanyavad, and thank you. Have a great weekend.